Fourth Tribe Entertainment.
It's gonna be a new day. It's gonna be a new way. You must think that you're our king. Yehuda Dean, Fourth Tribe ENT. It's gonna be a new day. It's the beginning of a new way. You could never be our king. Yehuda Dean, rep Yah with me. It's the dawn of 400 years, 400 years since we shed our first tears, 400 years since my ancestors slain, 400 years since we all knew his name. 400 in this land, Babylon, the bases of many kings. Yah's name is gone. We are the mighty Yehuda Dean. Lions of Yah, praise Yah with me. The righteous, Yah, the holy, Yah, the creator, Yah, the only, Yah, the righteous, Yah, the holy, Yah, the creator, Yah, the only, Yah. He is our king, our savior, and our judge, Yehuda Dean. Yahweh is righteous. He is our king, our savior, and our judge, Yehuda Dean. Yahweh is righteous. It's gonna be a new day. It's gonna be a new way. You must think that you're our king, Yehuda Dean, Fourth Tribe ENT. It's gonna be a new day. It's the beginning of a new way. You could never be our king, Yehuda Dean, rep Yah with me. It's the dawn of 400 years, 400 years since you stole our names, 400 years since Willie Lynch made the slave, 400 years and we still remain, 400 years of living with Cain, 400 years and we still a slave, slaving on the job, slaving on the block, slaving in the jail and in our hearts. We are the mighty Yehuda Dean. Lions of Yah, praise Yah with me. The righteous, Yah, the holy, Yah, the creator, Yah, the only, Yah, the righteous, Yah, the holy, Yah, the creator, Yah, the only, Yah. He is our king, our savior, and our judge, Yehuda Dean. Yahweh is righteous. It's gonna be a new day. It's gonna be a new way. You must think that you're our king, Yehuda Dean, Fourth Tribe ENT. It's gonna be a new day. It's the beginning of a new way. You could never be our king, Yehuda Dean, rep Yah with me. You could never be my king. Yehuda Dean, Fourth Tribe ENT. Oh, it's
Hallelujah. Yigadoya. Kodesh. Yeah. Yahweh is holy. Kodesh. Yeah. Yahweh is holy. Kodesh. Yeah. Yahweh is holy. He's holy. Kodesh. Yeah. He's holy. Yahweh, my Elohim, he's holy, holy, holy. His garments are light cloak. Yahweh, Elohim, Ha-Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Commandments on my hand be a Zikron. The glory Yahweh shine on. The fourth he put his time on. It's time to get my tribe on. Shema Yisrael, Yahweh, Elohim, Yahweh, Echad. It's only him, I thought you knew. 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 Kodesh, Yahweh is holy. Kodesh, He's holy, he's holy. Kodesh, Yahweh is holy. Kodesh, he's holy. Yahweh, my Elohim, he's holy, holy, holy. Great and he terrible, magnify Yahweh. Kodesh, Baruch, hallelujah, I'm praising my Yah, El Elyon, he El Shaddai, the most high, no other than Yahweh, Elohim, the only one, no fake God. Yahweh, Zeba'o, his garments in a light cloak. Yahweh, Elohim, Ha-Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Commandments on my hand be a Zikron. Yahweh shine on, before he put his time on. It's time to get my tribe on. Shema Yisrael, Yahweh, Elohim, Yahweh. God, it's only him, I thought you knew. 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 Kodesh, Yahweh, so holy. Kodesh, holy. Kodesh, so holy. Hallelujah. Praise the mighty, 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 mighty Yah. Praise the 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 mighty, mighty Yah. Kodesh, praise Yah. Yahweh is holy. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yahweh so holy. Kodesh, he's Yahweh so holy. Kodesh, he's Yahweh, he's holy.
I'm the messenger, Yah, stepping out of Beulah. From Babylon to Zion, my chains are looser in my mind, but out here the jakes will shoot ya. The judges judge for hire, the juries are straight liars. Just to see Israel fried up, they got our phones tapped and wired up. The police got you stuck, no one desires us. This law requires us to buy this man's trust, pay to get salvation. Who you playing? But I pulled your card, I seen your stars, they false lights. My spirit spit lyrics so cold, your frostbite, and that's the attitude from your murderous plight, from your rapists every night, and young boys shot down in the street in they mama's sight. Your overseers call this the good life, like the hood's right. Rep Zion, that's right. Yah's way, that's life.
We'll be married again. We will dance again. We'll be free again. We shall be.
And no more shall they serve themselves of us. The ships of Tarshish glory of Lebanon will offload to Yah's land. That's what we stepping on. The next plane won't miss the Pentagon. The bees is dying, Florida is drying. Look like death coming to Babylon. The nation about to be born. A pure language giving the call on the name of Yah. All people will serve the sun, the black supremacist. No hippie on the stick, looking like Dennis the Menace. The demon is finished. When the wicked fall, the meek increase. Israel is free. Rejoice in the death of the beast. The resurrection of Yah's people. All your children will be righteous. Walking in Yah's likeness, mirth and happiness. All glory in the land that Yah is blessed. See the truth manifesting Yah's elect.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise and honor to the Holy One of Israel, to the Creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is there and is, by saying hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah. Yah is righteous, Yah is holy, and let Yahweh be magnified. Again, we give all praise and honor to the Holy One of Israel for allowing us to come before you another day, bringing to you his great, holy, and exalted words, even the words of truth. My name is Moreh Ishaya Yisrael of the House of Israel, located right here in Cincinnati, Ohio, 2330 Kemper Lane, bringing to you nothing but the truth. And yes, all we're going to do is tell you the truth. For Yah ordained me to tell you the truth, and this is what I'm going to do. And who is this Yah? Yah is the creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is. Yah is the Elohim of our fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yisrael, whom you may know as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yah's our king. He's our judge. He's our lawgiver. And Yah is our only savior. And not just of Israel. Yah is the savior of the world. And I praise the mighty Yah again for allowing us to come before you another week. Tonight we will be dealing with continually this COVID-19, but in particularly the racial disparities that is affecting our community. It was astonishing to me that someone sent me a link news feed that was showing, and you want to look this up for yourself so you can see how bad this thing really is. And the news feed was about the COVID-19 cases in St. Louis, Missouri. Of course, this is affecting all over the world, but in particular all over the country. And our numbers are higher than everybody by far. But in St. Louis, Missouri, it was unbelievable and astonishing that when we look at the cases in this city, in this state, it says all, A-L-L, all the cases, and I'm not even sure if they was talking about all the cases or just the deaths. And I'm thinking they was talking about the deaths in St. Louis, Missouri, was African American. The so-called African American, black people. All the cases. A-L-L. To me, that's more than just people with preconditioned situations. That's more than just people who are vulnerable. What about the old people? What about other people that have underlying health issues? You mean the only ones that have underlying issues in St. Louis, Missouri is black? That couldn't be possible by no stretch of the imagination. But this is what Newsweek said. And you type it in and Google it for yourself. That all the cases in St. Louis, Missouri, they all were black. And why is this? And not only why is it, but what is the solution? They had the big doctors, black doctors, presidents of the Black Doctors Association. They had the big so-called reverends that was on the front lines in the 60s and that still call themselves being the various leaders of our people today in 2020. They even had the big black former ambassadors and surgeon generals, as well as the top scientist himself on all the talk shows. And they asked the scientist, the very top one, not only why is this happening, but they asked him what can be done. What is the solution to this problem? And it was astonishing. It was astonishing in what he said the answer was. The solution was. Now here it is. On this so-called Easter day, in which we as Israelites know this is a pagan day. But we're not going to try to kick people while they're down, because we all are down. Nor are we going to try to show people up because of what they believe. But we will tell the people the truth, and we want to appeal to all the religious people out there. Just to answer a few questions. And then I'm going to get right into what the big top scientists' solution in particularly is for the black community, which is being ravished, or not ravished, but ravaged by this plague. Right now, you would think that in this great time of trouble, the very first thing that people will be doing, especially if you know the Most High and you tremble at His word and you fear Him because you know Him, that in the time of trouble, when things get really bad, and things are really bad, that you will come together and begin to call upon Him, the Creator, the one that made everything. Now, ask yourself, is that what they doing in the Islamic countries? Relying on their God that they pray to every Friday? That they pray to 3 times a day? In many of the Islamic countries, even though you don't hear about them, also are being greatly impacted, especially in Iran. But who are they relying on in Iran? And I can tell you who they relying on. They're scientists. What about in Israel? The Promised Land. The Israelis, the so-called people of God, which we know is not the truth. Who are they relying on? They're scientists. And what about China, Japan, as well as the United States of America? As a matter of fact, all over the world, who are the world powers relying on? And everything that come out of their mouth, everything. Let's see what the data says. Let's see what the scientists say. Let's see what the facts are on the ground with the data. Let the data tell us what to do and what not to do. We need to listen to the experts, the scientists that know these things. But how many of the world powers, the religious men, have said, let's see what the God of heaven and earth has to say about this thing, who we know as Yahweh. For Yahweh is his name. And no, I'm not talking about this man that died, that was put in jail down in Miami, Florida. He was no God at all. He was just a man. I'm talking about the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, who is calling on him and appealing to him and seeking him for the answers and for direction? It appears nobody is, since all I've been hearing is, let's see about the data. Let's see about these facts. Let's see what the scientists have to say about this matter. And they asked the top scientists, and they said, look, black people seem to be getting the worst of these problems. And why is that? And they all have their talking points. They all have their bullet point answers, because they all saying the same thing. Black people have been neglected, and we know that. They have been so neglected that as a result of the neglect of the black community, that now, because of the diabetes in our community, the heart conditions, the heart disease in our communities, the asthma in our communities, and all the other health problems has reared its ugly head because of neglect. You would think, the way they're talking, that you would think they're talking about somebody parents, somebody father and mother that neglected their children, and their children couldn't make good decisions for themselves. Well, that's understandable when you're talking about somebody's children. But we're talking about a people. And a people who have their own minds and hearts and spirits did not have to go by the powers of the be. They didn't have to eat what master told them to eat. And they could have lived a lifestyle that's way more better and healthier than they have. Even to this day, many of the preachers still don't eat good and still don't tell their parishioners, their members, their disciples to eat the right things. And then when they do tell them, it's something that the government told them. And look what the Creator lets us know in the book of Isaiah. In the book of Isaiah, the 10th chapter, and we're going to read the 20th verse. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel and such as have escaped of the house of Yaakov shall no more again rely upon him that smote him, but shall rely upon Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. In truth. Because in truth, they taught you and told you that the all you had to do when you eat the various abominations, such as the pig, such as catfish and shrimp, such as the mouse, and many other abominable foods that our people have been eating and still eating today. Many of the greases, the fat that our people are eating. Even when our people went to eat vegetables, they put meat to season in them. They couldn't just eat the vegetables by themselves. They had to season it with defiled meat. Not because I say it's defiled, not because I say it's bad, but Yahweh himself said it was bad. And we wouldn't do it because we thought this was some type of Jewish diet, when this was the word of Yahweh. Then after eating all these things, not exercising, not doing any good thing, then we began to take a bunch of medicines. And then afterwards, after we have become sick, now it's the government fault. It's the government fault. And since it's the government fault, what is the government going to do about it? This is what everybody want to know. What is president? It's his watch. It's on his watch. What is he going to do? He should have been told us a long time ago about this virus. Well, if you wasn't sick and you didn't have all these health problems, then this virus wouldn't affect you according to them. According to them, the only reason you're affected is because you're already sick. Even though it definitely is a truth that black people are sick people, but you would think the numbers, the disparity, you would think that we the only people that's sick and nobody else is sick. That's how great of a difference it is in the death rate of what's happening to blacks and other people. And it's only because we have relied on the same people who smote us to teach us. And still to this day, we are going by the same people. So now we're waiting on the scientists, the big scientists, to tell us what to do. And I interviewed this big scientist today, the top one, Dr. Fauci. Maybe he's Jewish. I don't know. But they asked him, since blacks are the ones who are at a higher risk than everyone else, and since you said we were neglected and now we have all these health problems and issues, and this was ripe for a disease called the corona disease. So what is our solution? And he said, well, I'm just going to be honest. And he was honest. That even though they tell people that they had to practice, and this is a government mandate, that they have to practice social distancing. In other words, you got to stay away from people at least 6 feet. Well, how can black people stay away from people 6 feet when black people are on the front lines. Who you think bagging the groceries? Who you think checking people out? Do you realize when somebody come down that line after buying groceries and buying supplies and buying this, buying that, who you think ringing them out? Who you think you had to hand your money to? Chances are somebody black. Or if they not black, most likely they somebody poor. Now they putting glass shields up or plastic shields up, but you still got to hand them money. There is no social distancing, no matter how much the preachers and the so-called reverends tell you to stay home. There is no social distancing for blacks. And they know it is not. How can you have social distancing from blacks when most blacks live in communities where the apartments and the housing are on top of one another? And when you walk down the hallway of these public housing, how can you practice social distancing there? And who provided the black community with masks to protect themselves, with gowns to protect themselves, with gloves to protect themselves? Nobody. And then it was mandated that if you come into contact with someone that might be sick, and since blacks seem to be dying, not seem to be, are dying at a greater rate than everyone else, it could only mean that black people, many of them, which they probably not, should have been quarantined for 14 days as mandated. You should quarantine yourself 14 days so that we can see if you might or might not be sick. Now ask yourself, even if you thought you needed to be quarantined, where will you quarantine yourself at? When many black people are living in 2-bedroom, 3-bedrooms, and they got 5, 6, 7 different people in their house. Where you going to quarantine yourself? You can't quarantine yourself in the bathroom for 14 days, in the basement for 14 days, because every inch of a black person's house, apartment is used. You never been in nobody black house? Undoubtedly, the experts have not. Where would a black person go and lock themselves up, quarantine themselves for 14 days, quarantine themselves away from everybody? What type of room do black people have to be able to do that? Here it is, we got mothers, single mothers with children who's been affected. How's she going to quarantine herself? And she got children that she's raising. And Dr. Fauci was honest. He said black people are in a very peculiar and hard straits because he knows there is no solution for black people. Even if you stayed home from church Even if you don't go outside, at some point in time, you're going to have to leave your house. And everybody in your community is black. And you always are at risk. And not just risk, a high risk. And why? Because most of black people are sick. So he was honest and said, there is no solution. Even though the big time preachers are telling you to stay home, even from church. So you mean to tell me the only time that God is good for anything is in good times? Here it is, we in some very bad times. You would think the big preachers say, let's go to church and let us pray. Let us go to the altar and pray. Let us go to the sanctuary and pray. On any given Sunday, you'll tell them, they'll set some chairs in front of the pew and say, come on down to the altar and let God save you. Well, where are those chairs in front of the pew today? And I'm not talking and getting on these religions because they are false, and they are. But I'm appealing to the wisdom of your leaders that don't rely on those that smote you. And let me show you why this is a recipe for disaster if you don't already know. Watch this. The first thing you're going to have to know about the Creator, and it's in the book of Amos, because undoubtedly our community don't know the Most High like they think. In the book of Amos, the 3rd chapter, this is what it says. 6th and 7th verse. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? And right now, horns is going off. Seems like every day I'm hearing sirens. Every day I'm hearing horns, not just because the ambulance is rushing people to the hospital, but because all over the country, even here in Cincinnati, we having all kind of tornado warnings, hailstorms. Is that happening because we've been neglected and we got health problems? Why is these hailstorms happening? And who's responsible for the tornadoes? And the weather that's going buck wild all over the country. Who's responsible for that? Watch what it says. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and Yahweh has not done it? Question mark. I'm here to tell you, our beautiful brothers and sisters, all the evil that you see, there's only one responsible for it, and that's Yahweh himself. I know you never been taught that, and I even know you don't even believe that. But they didn't believe it during the time of Noah. And Yahweh, as a result of the evil that took place during the time of Noah, and you say you believe in the Bible, you say you believe in the patriarchs like Noah, you say you believe in the word of the Most High. Well, during the time of evil of Noah, who do you think eradicated the evil during that time? Yes, Yahweh. Who do you think eradicated the evil during the time of Sodom and Gomorrah? Yes, Yahweh. Who do you think took a people out of Egypt, a nation out of another nation, and brought them to their own land? And plagued the Egyptians with 10 different plagues. Yes, Yahweh. And now, now that we in 2020, you think this God called Yahweh, you think he's any different today than he was then? Yahweh said he don't change. And the world, you must admit, have been an evil place with a bunch of evil people. And Yahweh is trying, and not just trying, to get your attention. And still to this day, we refuse to give him and acknowledge him and to turn our face and ear to him. Matter of fact, let me show you what exactly the people are doing. Oh, before I finish this, Amos, the 3rd chapter, the 7th verse, it says, surely Yahweh will do nothing, but he reveals his secret to his servants, the prophet. So everything that's being done, everything that has been done, and everything that will be done, Yahweh let his servants, the prophets, know. First and foremost. So did Yahweh let us know that this evil will come to our doors? And the truth is, yes, he did. And if the Israelite community is honest, we told them here at the House of Israel in Cincinnati, Ohio. I went around to various congregations all over the country. We've been bringing to you the word of Yahweh every day, telling you that Yahweh has a controversy with his people as well as the inhabitants of the earth. We told you Yahweh is near to come. Not with his love, not with his mercy, but with his anger. And if you don't think Yahweh is angry, and you don't think this is Yahweh that's bringing this plague that we see today, it's only because you don't know Yahweh. And I know you don't. So you would dismiss what I say. But make no mistake about it. What you dismiss today, I can assure you, you will acknowledge in the short time to come. You're going to acknowledge what I'm telling you is the truth. Look here. This is what the powers to be have our people doing today in the book of Isaiah 31. And that's why I was very, very keen on what is the solution to this thing. Okay, black people dying out of higher numbers. Okay, we the sickest out of everybody. Okay, we the most vulnerable out of everybody. But what is the solution? You still got to tell us what's the solution, because people dying by the thousands a day. In the book of Isaiah 31, watch what it says. The first verse. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. The word Egypt means bondage. And this is what our people are doing. They're not going to their churches to ask for help. They're not going to the Most High to ask for help. They're going to the government. The one that had the various laws that's discriminated against us, that exploited us, that promoted racism against us, and even had us in slaves and was killing us. And not one person went to jail or died as a result of what was done to our community. But still to this day, we go down and we want to know what the government is going to do. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and rely on horses, trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. And watch what it says. But they look not to the Holy One of Israel, neither seek Yahweh. They don't seek Yahweh. And I don't hear nobody, not one church leader, talking about seeking Yahweh. Not one. And why? What type of individual, what type of leader will see all this evil and not encourage the people to seek the Most High? When you know the government don't have your best interest, and you know they don't even have an answer to your problems. Watch what it says in the book of Proverbs, the first chapter. Just want you to see this. In the book of Proverbs, the first chapter, the 22nd verse. We'll start at the 20th verse. Wisdom cries outside. She utters her voice in the streets. She cries in the chief places of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she utters her words, saying, how long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. Because I've called, and you refuse. I've stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. But you have set at nothing at all my counsel, and would have none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear comes. And when your fear comes as desolation, and it will, and it has, and your destruction comes as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish comes upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me earnestly, but they shall not find me. And why? For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of Yahweh. They were none of my counsel. They despised all my reproof. Therefore they shall eat the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them. The prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whoever listens to me shall dwell safely and shall be quiet from fear of evil. And my goodness, some evil things are taking place. But here, the Creator is letting us know. We didn't seek him. And we closed our ear to him. And still to this day, we're not calling on the Most High and seeking the Most High, even though well over 1 million people have died in 3 months. That's not enough for you to stand up and say it's time to call on the one that made life itself? My goodness, how many more have to die before every knee bow and every tongue swear? But you got to see the type of mind that will not call on the Most High, even though they go to church, even though they go to the mosque, even though they go to the synagogue. And I may add, all of them empty today on one of the biggest days of their life. They're closed. The churches are closed. The synagogues are closed. The mosques are closed. And why? Because the big scientists told you to close them? Because the government told you to close them? You didn't call upon your God to see what he wanted and how he will help? Watch what it says in the book of Psalm 14. I want you to see this. Because for some strange reason, it seems to me that the only time this God our people serve is any good to us is in good times. But in bad times, we run to the government. Watch what it says in the book of Psalms 14, verse 1 and 2. The fool said in his heart, there is no Elohim. So we don't need to listen to a fool anyway, because they say there's no Elohim in their heart. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that does good. The fool just don't do good. Even the things that look good ain't no good. Well, watch what the second verse say. Yahweh looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek Elohim. And look what he said. They are all gone aside. They are all together become filthy. There is none that does good. No, not one. Have all the workers of iniquities no knowledge? Who eat up my people as they eat bread, and call not upon Yahweh. They don't call upon Yahweh. And still, millions of people have died in 3 months' time. And nobody calling upon Yahweh. We talking about how much the doctors and the nurses are heroes. And every evening and every day they clapping and singing to them and congratulating them and extolling them and exalting them up real high, because they on the front line doing this very dangerous work. But who is exalting and extolling the Most High? Yahweh. who's clapping and singing and dancing for him, since he's the one that controls life itself. But no, there is nobody calling on Yahweh and seeking Yahweh. And I can understand why. Watch this in the book, since we're in the book of Psalm 119. I want you to see why you won't see this happening. In the book of Psalm 119, in verse 155, this is what it says. Salvation is far from the wicked. And you know what salvation is. Salvation is to be saved. For they seek not your statutes. They're not even seeking the statutes of the Most High. Because they're not seeking the Most High, period. At all. And you would think we've seen enough. Many of the planes are grounded. The ships are docked. Many of the businesses are closed. Money is dried up. Food banks are being overwhelmed more than even the hospitals. The hospitals are being overwhelmed, but the food banks are being overwhelmed more than the hospitals. But who's calling on Yahweh? Who's seeking the Most High? Watch what it says in Psalm 53. Now I'm showing you why people not doing it. And then I'm going to show you the answer the big scientists couldn't give you. The big scientists didn't know. The big scientists didn't believe. I'm going to show you the answer to all of our problems. The answer to the disease itself. In Psalm 53, this is what it says. Once again, the second verse, Elohim, look down from heaven upon the children of men. And why does he keep doing this? This is why. To see if there were any that did understand. That did seek Elohim. Because Yahweh want to know, are you going to seek me? Are you going to call upon me? Are you going to pray to me? Or are you going to run down to the government as you have to see what the government, what relief, what plan, what strategy the government has for you? He didn't tell us in enough time. He didn't warn us. Our people have been warned about their diet long before President Trump. Long before him. They've been warned about their diet. They've been warned about how to live a healthy lifestyle. But no. Now you want to blame somebody? And this is what the Creator want to know. You want to know the answer to your problems. But this is what Yahweh want to know before he give you the answers to your problems. And this is in the book of Jeremiah, the 2nd chapter. And watch what Yahweh asks in the 27th and 28th verse. And I'm going to start at the 25th verse. Jeremiah 2:25. It says, withhold your foot from being unshod, your throat from thirst. In other words, don't drink nothing. Don't tie your foot up. But you say, there is no hope. No, for I've loved strangers, and after them will I go. Because that's what our people doing today. As the thief is ashamed when he is found, so is the house of Israel ashamed. They, their kings, their princes, their priests, and their prophets, saying to a tree, you are my father. Was you ashamed when you were saying that? Here it is, our people serving something that is just an idol, not God at all. Saying to a tree, you are my father. And a stone, as they doing in Islam, you have brought me forth. For they have turned their back unto me, and not their face. But in time of their trouble, they will say, arise and save us. But where are your gods that you have made you? In other words, you know you made them, because some of y'all wear them around your neck. Some of y'all got them around your wrist. Your God is hanging up in your church. What kind of God is that where you got to hang him up in your church? You got to take a nail and put him on the wall. What kind of God is that you got to throw rocks in Mecca to be blessed and touch it? Let them arise if they can save you in the time of trouble. And we're in a time of trouble. We need some divine intervention. The big scientists say we don't have no answers. And the answers they given are not suitable at all for black people. For according to the number of your cities are your gods, O Yehuda. And yes, he's talking about a people that you don't even know who you are. So this sounds foreign to you. But he's talking to you, so-called African American, so-called black man and woman. He's talking to you. But you don't know that because you've been told that you're just black. Furthermore, since you have yet to call on these gods that's not going to do anything for you, still, in the book of Psalms, the 10th chapter, Yahweh want to know this. Psalms 10. And I may add, we're not just talking about some Christians and Muslims and atheists or anybody else. We're talking to the Israelite community as well, because the Israelite community also refused to call upon Yahweh and to seek him. And they know who they are. In the book of Psalms 10. Watch what it says. The 4th verse. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after Elohim. Elohim is not in all his thoughts. Ain't that some wicked stuff? That the wicked, through the pride of his countenance, got so much pride, he will not seek after Elohim. He will try to save his life by any means necessary But he's not going to seek the one that made him. He try to save money, store up water and food. He will go to great lengths, even put himself or have him put on a ventilator. But he's not going to seek the Most High. He's not going to do that. Nor is anyone calling for that to be done. And that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that you have not been told the truth. That's unfortunate. And let me tell you the truth. If you want to see exactly how you overcome not only this virus, but everything, and I mean everything, there's nothing that Yahweh would hold from you if you obeyed him. And what is it that Yahweh wanted you to know? What did he want you to know? About the time of trouble? And about what you should be doing, even in these various times of plagues. And watch what this says. I want you to see this. In the book of Psalms, Psalms 34. And this is exactly what we did before the trouble came. And watch what it says. In the book of Psalms 34. The 9th and 10th verse. Oh, fear Yahweh, you his saints. For there is no want to them that fear him. And watch this 10th verse. The young lions do lack and suffer hunger. And you'll see the little shows out there where the little young lions, they looking for food. Even their mother and father is looking, in particularly their mother is looking for food for the young lions. And they suffer hunger. But watch what it says next. But they that seek Yahweh shall not want any good thing. In other words, you're not going to have a want for nothing if you learn and know how to seek the Most High. And this is something that the wicked refuse to do until Yahweh make them seek him. But they will go and do everything. Go to the scientists, go to the president, go to the government, go to their governors, go to everybody, the hospitals, the doctors, but they refuse to seek Yahweh. And why? What is in our people that they will do this thing? Even the animal know to seek the Most High. Look what it says in the book of Psalms 104. It says, young lion suffer hunger, but they that seek Yahweh won't want any good thing. And we know that's the truth. Watch this. What Yahweh said about this thing in Psalms 104. The 21st verse. It says, young lions roar after their prey and seek their meat from Elohim. That's what young lions do. Even a young lion seek their food from the Most High. You don't know how it's done. You don't know how this operate, but Yahweh does. The young lions do. And I believe it because the word say it. But the wicked seek Elohim not. They don't seek Elohim at all. And Elohim is not in his thoughts. He'll go through a list of things attempting to save his life, to handle his problems, so to subdue his enemies, but he would never seek the Most High. And I'm telling you, especially these leaders, preachers, and so-called reverends, why aren't you telling the people to seek the Most High? Why are you going to the government? The government should be coming to the churches, the synagogues, the mosques. That's who the government should be coming to. But the government ain't coming to the churches, synagogues, and mosques because the synagogues, the mosques, and the churches is going to the government. And who is supposed to lead who? What is the answer to this problem? The answer is simple. We got to seek the one that made good and evil. Here it is. We got evil. Then go to the father of it. In the book of Psalms 40. This is not hard to know. Nor is this hard to do. Psalms 40 and 16. This is what it says. Let all those that seek you rejoice and be glad in you. Let such as love your salvation say continually, Yahweh be magnified. Because Yahweh is looking for a people that will seek him. And the wicked won't seek him. He's looking for a people that actually want salvation, that wants to be saved. Watch this in Isaiah 55. And we'll let you know how Yahweh desires for one to seek him. But first you got to get it in your mind that you have made a mistake. And that is that you went to everybody else except the true and living Elohim. In the book of Isaiah 55, the 6th verse. Seek you Yahweh while he may be found. Call you upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto Yahweh, and he will have mercy upon him and to our Elohim, for he will abundantly pardon. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, says Yahweh.
For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. And we're going to have to stop relying on ourselves, but rather, we're going to have to seek the Most High. The answer to this plague is we got to seek the Most High. We got to seek his mercy. We need divine intervention. That's the only thing that will stay a plague, is Yah's mercy, Yahweh's goodness. But why aren't we seeking him? Why don't we even know to seek him? In the book of Proverbs, the 28th chapter, the 4th and 5th verse, it says, they that forsake the law praise the wicked. And here it is. We got people forsaking the law all day. Won't keep the Sabbath day. Won't even keep the first commandment. Which says, thou shalt have no other Elohims but me. But such as keep the law, contend with them. And watch this 5th verse. Evil men understand not judgment. See, they not worried about their judgment and what will happen in the end of times. They not worried about that. But they that seek Yahweh understand all things, because Yahweh is going to show you things even before they happen. And why? Because you sought him. And if that's true, and I'm telling you, it is true, then why aren't we seeking Yahweh? Why are we doing it? Where is the people that seeking Yahweh calling for Yahweh to be sought? I told the people, even before all these things will happen, that we are in a state of emergency. But today, where is the state of the emergency of seeking Yahweh? Where is it? Still to this day, nobody seeking the Most High. Nobody calling upon the Most High. Nobody gathering themselves together to seek the one that made everything, good and evil. He made that. In the book of 2 Chronicles, the 15th chapter, the first verse, and the spirit of Elohim came upon Azariah the son of Oded. And he went out to meet Asa and said to him, hear ye me, Asa, and all Yehuda and Benjamin. Yahweh is with you while you are with him. And if you seek him, he will be found by you. But if you forsake him, he will forsake you. And all we got to do, all Yahweh wanted us to do, is to seek him. And we still can. But the truth is, we have, and the mass majority of our people still won't. They're going to rely on the scientists. They're going to rely on the CDC. They're going to rely on the government. And since they have relied on these people, many of the churches are closed. The synagogues are closed. The shrines, the halls are closed. The mosques are closed. And even many of the Israelite Knesses and congregations
are closed. Not because thus says Yahweh, but because of the government, the big time scientists who don't even have the answers for our community. Not one answer. No solutions. Telling you to stay at home. You think that's going to stop the plague? You staying at home? Then what's going to happen when you come back out? What's going to happen then? At some point, at some time, you got to come back out. And then, what would you do? Are you going to wear a mask the rest of your life? Watch this in the book of Isaiah, the 9th chapter, the 13th verse. For the people turn not unto him that smites them. As I said before, they turn to everybody else. The scientists, the CDC, the president, the governors. Neither do they seek Yahweh of hosts. They're not going to seek Yahweh. Not even the leaders of our people. They're not seeking the Most High. Therefore, Yahweh will cut off from Israel head and tail, branch and rush in one day. And he did. Who the head now? The ancient and the honorable. He is the head. The prophet that teacheth lies, he is the tail. For the leaders of this people cause them to err. And they that are led of them are destroyed. Because the leaders are not telling you to seek the one that made you, the one that is molding you, the one that's responsible for all the evil in the city. We know the other religions can't proclaim this, don't believe this, because they don't have a God that's real, that made good and evil. So they had this one coin God that has just a head, but no tail. Just good, but no evil. Just light, but no darkness. That type of God don't even exist. Period. Don't even exist. That's a God that you can hang up on your walls, hang around your neck, tie around your shoe, put pictures of him in a book. But it's not a real God at all. Because the real Elohim made all things. Watch this in the book of Isaiah 45. The book of Isaiah 45, the 7th verse. It says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, Yahweh, do all these things. And since Yahweh do all these things, then why aren't you seeking Yahweh, who do all these things? The maker of all things, the creator of all things. Watch what it says in the 19th verse. I have not spoken in secret in a dark place of the earth, I said not to the seed of Yaakov, seek you me in vain. I, Yahweh, speak in righteousness. I declare things that are right. Assemble yourselves and come. Draw near together, you that are escaped of the nations. Because if you're escaped, this is what you would do. They have no knowledge that set up the wood of their graven image, and pray to our God that cannot save. Tell you, bring them near, yea, let them take counsel together. Who has declared this from ancient time? Who has told it from that time? Have not I Yahweh? And there is no Elohim else besides me. A just Elohim and a Savior? There is none besides me. Look unto me and be you saved, all the ends of the earth. For I am Elohim, and there is none else. I've sworn by myself. The word has gone out of my mouth in righteousness and shall not return, that unto me every knee shall bow, and every tongue shall swear. And I'm telling you now, bow today before it's too late. Swear today before it's too late. And seek the only one that can save you. Seek the only one that can heal you. Seek the only one, the only Elohim that exists. And his name is Yahweh. Last scripture in the book of Psalms 24. This is what you want to know. Psalms 24. And watch what it says. The first verse. The earth is Yahweh's, and the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. This is Yahweh's kingdom. Not Trump, not Pence, but Yahweh's. For he has founded it upon the seas and established it upon the floods. Who shall ascend into the hill of Yahweh? Or who shall stand in his holy place? He that has clean hands and a pure heart, who has not lifted up his soul to vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. He shall receive the blessing from Yahweh and righteousness from the Elohim of his salvation. And watch this 6th verse. This is the generation of them that seek him, that seek your face, O Yaakov. Selah. This is the generation that seek him. And why would this be the generation that seek him? Because this is the time of trouble that you ain't never seen. And Yahweh had prepared a remnant in the earth that would seek him in this generation for the trouble today, as well as the trouble to come. But we're seeking him to show you and to tell you that this is what you must do if you desire to be saved. This is what salvation is all about. So no shot, no vaccination, no pill is going to be able to get you out of this trouble. Like the scientists are saying, and all the preachers are saying, we need a test. Take a test. We need to test everybody. You will call for a test. You will call the president. You will call the scientists. You will call the big doctors. But you are yet to call upon Yahweh. And this is to your demise. But you don't have to listen to me. I'm nobody. But rest assured, the words that you ignore today, you will acknowledge in a short time to come. So until tomorrow, Yahweh love you, and so do I. Shalom.
Coke my and then A and die out the night. Counsel to fear Yah and adore his light. These are the spirits we need in our life. To walk uprightly, be pleasing his sight. All we seen was the terror and pestilence. All we need is Yahweh's deliverance. We need wisdom to shine like the seven suns. Understanding that Yahweh's the only one. You was lied to about the begotten son. We destroyed like your knowledge, but all I asked for, what's that? Is the spirit of Yah, so all I breathe is the spirit of Yah, so all they see is the spirit of hate, so all my pleas is the empty Yah's gates, and as they grieve, see his word take shape, so plain to see that Yahweh is great. All I need, Yah's all I need. Your Ruach Kodesh, my Yah, I must confess, my Yah is all I need. Yahweh is all I need. Your Ruach Kodesh, my Yah, I must confess, my Yah is all I need. Trust in my Yahweh with all of your heart. Keep his commandments, from evil depart. Give Yah his praise when sunrise the day start. Keep all his paths, Yah will light up the dark. All I yearn for is the spirit of Yah. All I long for is the spirit of Yah. Too long we've been disappeared from my Yah. Not sincere with my Yah, unaware of my Yah, quite unfair to my Yah. Do we care for our Yah, the fountain of living waters? Why you think he drying all the oceans? Why you keep choosing presidents and keep voting? Worshiping in the man and who you hoping? He got his hand around your neck, he cashing in. You keep choking like blind at noonday. We keep groping. I beg for the day Yah's judgment's overflowing. Yah got me high on this oxytocin. Yah's all I need. Your Ruach Kodesh, my Yah, I must confess, my Yah is all I need. Yahweh is all I need. Your Ruach Kodesh, my Yah, I must confess, my Yah is all I need. Kokma and Ben A and Da'at and might. Counsel to fear Yah and adore his light. These are the spirits we need in our life. To walk uprightly, be pleased in his sight. Trust in my Yahweh with all of your heart. Keep his commandments, from evil depart. Give Yah his praise when sunrise the day starts. Keep all his plans, Yahweh light up the dark. Blessed is the man that walks not with Rasha, nor goes in the way of the sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scorners. Return none to Yah, I'm trying to warn ya. All I need, Yah's all I need.
all I need.